Thinking about starting an LLC in Louisiana, but worried that you'll miss a crucial step, or worse, mess up something that costs you later? Well, you're not alone. The good news is Louisiana is actually one of the most business-friendly states if you know how to navigate the process the right way. So in this video here, I will walk you through everything you need to do step by step so you avoid common pitfalls and get your business off the ground fast. Now, before we begin, I have to say that there's one mistake I see over and over that shuts down new LLCs before they ever get going. But we'll get into that here in a minute. Before we do, let's start with why Louisiana is such a strong choice for starting your LLC. The state keeps business costs low with some of the most competitive tax advantages in the country, giving you more room to reinvest in your company. Louisiana also brings some major perks to the table, like 6 deep water ports, access to several interstate highways, and a location that's perfect for reaching customers on the Gulf Coast and beyond. Plus, the state has some great programs aimed specifically at new businesses, offering different incentives like payroll rebates and tax credits to help you hit the ground running. Now, let's keep things moving here and talk about how you can lock down the perfect name for your LLC, because it's one of the most important steps, and I'll show you how to get it right. But before we jump in too deep here, here's one thing to keep in mind. So starting your business, it should be exciting, not overwhelming. But forming an LLC on your own, that can get confusing fast with all the legal forms, the rules, and just easy to miss details. Now, I'll walk you through everything you need to know in this video, but if any part of this feels too confusing, I've got a favorite LLC formation service that makes the whole process super simple and stress-free. It's guided, beginner-friendly, and only costs $39. So if you hit any bumps along the way, just go ahead and click right up here to get step-by-step help setting up your LLC the easy way. All right, so all that said, let's talk about your Louisiana LLC business name. So first, it must include limited liability company or an abbreviation like LLC or LLC at the end. Second, your name has to be unique, not just in how it sounds, but in how it's spelled and structured. That means that you can't use a name that's too similar to others or are already taken. And you should check the availability with the Secretary of State's Business Filings Search tool to begin, which is linked to in the description below, along with any other resource that I mentioned throughout this video. Now, if you find a name that you love but aren't quite ready to file all your paperwork yet, you can lock in the name by completing a name reservation for $25, which gives you 120 days of protection. Now, assuming that you paused the video and got that done, let's go ahead and move on and talk about registered agents, who they are, and why you really need one. A registered agent is the person or service that gets important legal or government documents for your LLC, like lawsuit notices or official letters from the state. Now, in Louisiana, you're legally required to list one when forming your LLC. And your agent, they must have a physical address in Louisiana, no PO boxes, and be available during normal business hours, so Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You got a few options here. You can be your own registered agent if you live in the state. You can ask someone who you trust who lives in Louisiana. Or what a lot of people do is you can hire a professional registered agent service. Now, the thing about a registered agent, though, is that they always have to be available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And whatever address that's used will be published and become public record, which really sucks if you value privacy. That said, I always advocate for folks to use a service instead. And personally, my preferred provider is Northwest Registered Agent. They're known for their strong privacy protections, their excellent customer service, and straightforward pricing. Now, if you hire them to help form your LLC, the cost is only $39, and they'll make sure that you don't get hung up on anything. And one of the best perks of using them is that you can use their business address on your public filings, which helps keep your personal information private and avoids all the junk mail that would happen. Next up, let's dig into the most important paperwork, which is your Articles of Organization. So your Articles of Organization is the official paperwork that legally forms your LLC in Louisiana. And here's where it's a little different than in other states. So Louisiana actually requires 2 documents to be filled out at the same time: the Articles of Organization and the initial report. If you skip the report, the state will not accept your filing. You can submit everything online through the Louisiana online portal or mail in a paper form if you want. Online is obviously faster and easier. Now, the filing fee is $105, and it normally takes 3 to 5 business days to process, but you could speed things up if you want. So an extra $30 will get you 24-hour processing, and $50 gets you same-day service as long as you file before 9 a.m. Now, in filling out the forms, you'll need to include your LLC's name, your business address, your registered agent details, the names and addresses of the members or managers, and your signature as the organizer. Now, once your paperwork is approved, congrats, you're officially in business. And now that your LLC is legally formed, let's talk about one of the most important documents most people completely overlook, which is the operating agreement. So even though Louisiana doesn't legally require an operating agreement, drafting one is a really smart move, especially if your LLC has more than one member. So think of this as a rule book for how your business will run. It helps prevent misunderstandings, outlines responsibilities, and gives your LLC a layer of legal protection that's hard to get without it. Your operating agreement should cover a few different, basic things. So who owns what percentage of the business, how profits and losses are split, what each person's role and responsibilities are, what happens if you want someone out, or if you want to bring someone new in. Now, you can write the agreement yourself using templates online for free, or you can hire a legal pro that will probably charge you, hundreds of dollars if you want something more airtight. Especially helpful, if you have partnerships or a complex ownership structure, it may be worth it. But for most folks, you probably don't need that. Now, even if you're a solo member, it's still a good idea to have one. It shows that your LLC is a separate legal entity, which can help shield your personal assets if there's ever a legal issue like a lawsuit. Next, let's look at how to get your EIN and take care of any tax registrations. So once your LLC is official, the next step is getting your EIN, which stands for Employer Identification Number. You can think of it like kind of a social security number for your business, right? You'll need it to open a business bank account, to hire employees, and file federal taxes. Now, the good news, it's 100% free and super easy to get through the IRS website. It only takes a few minutes if you apply online. On the state level, Louisiana, they don't automatically require all LLCs to register for state taxes. But if you're selling products, offering taxable services, or hiring employees, then you'll need to register with the Louisiana Department of Revenue. And you can do this online through the same online portal where you filed your articles of organization that I had mentioned earlier. Now from here, let's keep going and talk about licenses, permits, and other local requirements that you won't want to miss. So Louisiana doesn't require a general statewide business license, which is great news. It means your LLC can sometimes skip that step. But depending on your business type and where you're actually located, you may need some other licenses or even permits. So for example, if you're selling products, you'll need a sales tax certificate from the Louisiana Department of Revenue. Certain industries like construction, cosmetology, or food services, they often require specialized occupational licenses as well. Now, local cities and parishes, they may also have their own rules and require additional permits or business licenses too. So for instance, New Orleans, they mandate an occupational license for most businesses, and fees usually depend on what you do and what your expected revenue is. Now, to avoid guesswork, Louisiana does offer a free business license checklist online, which gives you a more personalized list of permits required at federal, state, and local levels based on your business info. Again, find that below. Now, before you open, it's smart to check with the city or a parish clerk's office and see what applies to your industry. Skipping this step can lead to fines or even business shutdowns, so just don't skip it. It's not worth it. So next, let's talk about annual reports and keeping your LLC in good standing with the state. So after your LLC is up and running, there's one yearly task that you cannot forget, which is what I was hinting at in the intro of the video here, and that's filing your Louisiana annual report. This keeps your business info up to date with the state. It's a short form, but skipping it can lead to late fees or even worse, your LLC getting administratively dissolved, which basically means the state just shuts it down. So you'll file your annual report online and it's due every year on the anniversary month of when you formed your LLC. So if you started your business in June, your report will be due every June going forward. Now, the filing fee for this is $35 and it asks you to confirm or update basic info like your business address, your registered agent info, and members or managers. So now you've really got all the steps, but let's go ahead and review the total cost of starting and maintaining an LLC in Louisiana so you know exactly what to expect financially. So here's a real world look at what you'll pay to start and maintain your LLC in Louisiana. So startup costs. First is going to be the name reservation, which is optional. That's $25 for 120 days if you want to secure your business name before filing. Next is the Articles of Organization filing, right? This is required. It's a $105 one-time fee. You also have a registered agent service, which is optional, but I recommend. It's $39 for the first year if you use Northwest Registered Agent. Also an operating agreement, optional. It's free if you DIY it with a credible template, or you can use AI to help. Now, in terms of ongoing annual costs, well, there's the annual report, which is required. That's $35. That's due every year to keep your LLC active, right? You have a registered agent service, which is optional, but it is $125 to stay compliant and keep your privacy if you're using Northwest Registered Agent every year. And then your business licenses and permits, it's optional, but it really depends on the business, right? So costs here, they vary drastically based on your city or parish and the industry, right? Some are free, while others can be, a few $100s. Now, if you decide to go bare bones and do it all yourself, the absolute minimum that you'd spend is $100 at startup and $35 per year after that. Now, if you use a professional registered agent and factor in a couple of minor permits, you can estimate probably $200 to $350 to get started and around $125 to $200 per year. Now, again, to help with this entire process and make sure you don't skip anything, I advise you to use a service like Northwest Registered Agent, which again, you can click right up here to check it out, as they'll really help you stay in compliance year after year while you can focus and just try to run a profitable business for yourself. If you have any questions for me or you're a little confused about the process, just drop me a comment below and I will do my absolute best to help you out as soon as possible. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.